Greetings, Ren here. Another warm sunny day in the UK today. I'm wearing my Kenyan top, which my sister-in-law got me. She's from Kenya. Thought I'd wear that today. And this video I'm doing is about debunking the flat earth. Now, there's a number of people that I follow who believe in flat earth, and they're not stupid people. And in some ways I can understand why people are challenging absolutely everything to do with conventional science, with the rise of scientism and the way that scientists can be influenced by the powerful billionaire non-scientists who provide their funding. Does beg the question though, what are they researching then if they can only publish results that suit the narrative? I guess they're researching what they're told to research. But yeah, with the rise of scientism, some people are questioning everything in the realm of science and history, but I think there's people that are taking it too far, and I think flat earth is one example of that. So I'm not convinced on this flat earth thing at all. Like I say, I'm not calling people who do believe it's stupid, because some of the other things they talk about are really clever things, so it's a bit of a paradox. But anyway, I've done some research on this. Here are my reasons why I don't accept flat earth, why I totally reject it. Firstly, when the sun sets, with the flat earth, it would be truly dark everywhere, wouldn't it? If you think of the earth as kind of a round, like a dinner plate, as soon as the sun goes completely underneath that dinner plate, then everywhere would be dark, wouldn't it? But that's not at all what we see. That's not at all what we see. It's light in this part of the earth and dark in this part, and vice versa, keeping with the earth being a sphere. The classic one of when you observe a ship moving towards the horizon, the sails are the last thing to disappear, again showing the curvature of the earth. Number three, if you get a really powerful telescope and you, from a place where there's no light pollution, but could be from comfort of your own home, and you stare at planets, all the planets that you see at different times, the most frequent ones I think are Venus and Mars, but all of them appear as spheres. Of course, the sun and the moon as well. The moon during a full moon is always a sphere. Now, if these other planets were shaped like a coin or a dinner plate, then you might at times catch the flat edge. It wouldn't consistently be a circle, would it? For that to happen, it has to be a sphere. So you never catch Mars and Venus in You'd never catch Mars and Venus in orientations other than their flat faces. Well, what am I trying to say? You never do. It's always the circle. 4. The lunar eclipse. This is when the sun casts Earth's shadow on the moon. Now, it's wherever it is on the Earth that you observe a lunar eclipse, you always see a circle. The Earth's shadow cast on the moon is a circle. Earth's shadow on the moon always appears to be a perfect circle. Now, if the Earth was flat, the lunar eclipse would always have to consistently happen at the midnight position, at midnight. But we know that lunar eclipses don't always just happen at midnight, they can happen at different times. So the Earth's shadow cast on the moon during a lunar eclipse is always round, a circle, no matter where you are on the planet when you observe it. The only way to do that is if the Earth is a globe. And you can try that as an experiment if you take, say, a dinner plate in a dark room and shine a torch behind it and move the plate, and then observe the shape of the shadow on the wall that's cast on the wall. If you move the dinner plate as you're casting the flashlight light behind it, then sometimes that shadow would appear to be an oval or just a thick line. But if you repeat the same experiment with an orange, an apple, or a ball, it will always be circle because it's a sphere. So that's an experiment worth trying. What about gravity? Gravity tends to pull towards the centre. So if on a flat Earth, the gravitational pull in the centre would be strongest, and therefore all water would be stacked towards the centre, because the gravity would tug more and more horizontally the further you were away from the centre. And so trees and plants on the edge would likely be growing sideways and diagonally towards the centre. It's true that some of the flat earthers deny gravity, but how many times have they jumped off a big cliff to prove that? Another thing, show like a picture of the flat earth, how it's laid out, how they say it's laid out on a map. Look at the positions of, say, Europe, Africa, America, South America, Australia, and then think about flight times. So flight times from London to Sydney is 22 hours, from Los Angeles to Sydney is 14 hours. There's no direct flights from Argentina, but the flight time is also about 14 hours, I believe, from Argentina to Sydney, Australia. So look at that map of the flat earth and tell me if you think that's possible. Point number 7, Foucault's pendulum. In 1851, a heavy 28 kilogram brass bob was hung from a 67 metre chain in the Pantheon in Paris. Such a pendulum, which can swing in any plane, is observed to change direction during the course of the day, yielding direct evidence of Earth's rotation. That's an interesting phenomenon, a clever experiment done there. Number 8, sunsets and sunrise. If the Earth was flat, then someone in New York and Los Angeles would see the sun rise and set at exactly the same time, but in reality the difference is 3 hours. Not only that, but the sun rises and sets at different times at every point in between. Simple logic. As the sun sets, and if you are at the bottom of the hill, you'll observe the light moving up the hill. This rising of a line of light happens because the Earth is round. Number 9, the Hawai mountains. So what's the point here being made? You cannot see Kawaikini from Mauna Kea. I don't know if I pronounce those right. Mauna Kea is the highest peak of Hawaii. There's 303 miles with only ocean in between the two peaks, but curved Earth has a limit of 233 miles. That's why you can't. Now, surely with powerful telescopes you should be able to, or magnifying equipment, you should be able to see from one to the other, one from the other with flat Earth, but you can't. And a similar principle, if you had a really super duper powerful magnifying device or telescope, and you were standing on the Atlantic coast of Portugal by day or by night, then you should be able to see the Statue of Liberty in New York by day, or if it's lit up by night, but you can't because of the curved Earth. Point 10, different seasons at different times. So summer in the USA corresponds to winter in Australia. You've got opposite seasons in Italy and Argentina. Because the sun's rays, which are almost perfectly parallel, strike the Earth at different angles during different parts of the year. If the Earth was flat, then the USA, Australia, Italy and Argentina would experience seasons the same way. Point 11, if you get high enough, you can visibly observe that the Earth is a sphere. It's a sphere with 7,900 miles diameter, or 12,700 kilometres in diameter. Now, flat earthers will say, well, no one's ever got that high up to photograph it, all the photos are fake. I personally don't believe that. That's just a matter of my own belief. I think some of these photos of the earth are genuine. Yeah, difficult one to prove unless you are actually yourself on the spaceship, I guess. An ancient scholar named Eratosthenes, the head of the famous Library of Alexandria in Egypt, even correctly approximated the circumference of the earth using experimental measurements of shadows in 2 cities and some rudimentary geometry. This is nothing new. The ancients also knew that the earth was a sphere. 12 proponents of flat earth state that cities cannot be upside down, that you can't be standing upside down, but the fact of the matter is there is no true up and down in space. Everybody is standing the right way up on the sphere because of gravity. Simple as that. And then final point 13, you can see the Polaris star in the northern hemisphere, but you can't see that star as you move further into the southern hemisphere. The southern hemisphere is a different sky than the northern hemisphere. If the earth was flat, it would be the same night sky from anywhere on earth. It's pretty compelling. So those are the things I found that for me debunk flat earth. And yeah, I just thought I'd record all my thoughts in one place. Ciao for now, bye.